Look at a modern world map. Every single square centimeter of dirt, rock, and sand on this planet is claimed by someone. Nations fight bloody wars, spend trillions of dollars, and argue for decades over a tiny, isolated island in the middle of nowhere. Land is power. Land is survival. Except for one place. Deep in the scorching, barren desert between Egypt and Sudan lies a vast, trapezoid-shaped territory. It spans over 2,000 square kilometers, nearly the size of Luxembourg. It is called Bir Tawil, and right now, it is the only habitable place on Earth that is officially Terra Nullius, land belonging to no one. Egypt does not want it. Sudan refuses to touch it. If you were to march into the center of Bir Tawil today, plant a flag, and declare yourself the absolute king of your own country, no military would come to stop you. In fact, multiple people have actually tried to do exactly that. But why? Why would two neighboring countries, both hungry for resources and space, actively fight to reject a massive piece of land? Because Bir Tawil is not just a desert, it is a legal trap, a geographical curse where owning this land means losing something infinitely more valuable. Sir, we have another group of tourists crossing the southern border into the unclaimed zone. They are waving a homemade flag. Should we intercept? Leave them. As far as our government is concerned, that dirt doesn't exist. To understand this geopolitical madness, we have to go back to the year 1899. At the time, the British Empire was the master of the region. To simplify things, the British drew a straight administrative border between Egypt and Sudan right along the 22nd parallel north. According to this straight line, Bir Tawil belonged to Sudan, and a much larger, triangle-shaped piece of land to the east belonged to Egypt. That eastern land is called the Habitable Triangle. Unlike the dry, empty sands of Bir Tawil, the Habitable Triangle is rich in resources, sits right on the valuable coast of the Red Sea, and is home to thousands of people. Everything seemed settled, until the British did what they always did. They changed their minds. 3 years later, in 1902, the British realized that the local nomadic tribes did not care about a straight line drawn on a map. The Ababda tribe, who lived in Egypt, used Bir Tawil for their camels. Meanwhile, the Bisharian tribe, who lived in Sudan, actually used the Habitable Triangle. So, the British drew a second, irregular administrative border to match the tribal realities. And with that single stroke of a pen, they created a ticking geopolitical time bomb. Under the new 1902 map, the valuable Habitable Triangle was given to Sudan, and the empty desert of Bir Tawil was given to Egypt. Decades passed. The British Empire collapsed, and both Egypt and Sudan became independent nations. And that is when the trap snapped shut. When both countries looked at the maps, they realized they had a massive problem. Egypt wants the 1899 straight-line border. Because under the 1899 map, Egypt gets the rich, coastal Habitable Triangle. But if Egypt accepts the 1899 border, they must also accept that Bir Tawil belongs to Sudan. Sudan, on the other hand, wants the 1902 tribal border. Because under the 1902 map, Sudan gets the Habitable Triangle. But if Sudan claims the 1902 border, they must also accept that Bir Tawil belongs to Egypt. Do you see the trap? Neither country can claim Bir Tawil without automatically giving up their claim to the multi-billion-dollar Habitable Triangle. To claim the small, empty desert is to admit defeat and lose the ocean coastline forever. So, for over half a century, both nations have engaged in a bizarre game of reverse geopolitics. Egypt insists, Bir Tawil is not ours. It belongs to Sudan. And Sudan fires back. Absolutely not. Bir Tawil is Egyptian dirt. By completely ignoring Bir Tawil, both nations are trying to protect their true prize on the Red Sea. And because of this permanent legal deadlock, Bir Tawil has become a magnet for eccentric dreamers, internet trolls, and desperate fathers. In 2014, an American man named Jeremiah Heaton looked out into the world and saw an opportunity. His young daughter had asked him a simple question. "Daddy, can I be a real princess?" Most fathers would laugh it off. Jeremiah took it literally. He searched the internet for unclaimed land, discovered Bir Tawil, and flew thousands of miles into the desolate desert. He marched into the dry sands, planted a blue flag designed by his children, and declared the birth of the Kingdom of North Sudan. I hereby declare this territory a sovereign nation, and my daughter, the official Princess Emily. The story went viral across the globe. News outlets reported on the man who conquered the last unclaimed land for his daughter. But reality is a harsh master. To create a real country, you need more than a flag and a viral Facebook post. You need recognition from the United Nations. And the UN requires a permanent population, functioning infrastructure, and an economy. Bir Tawil has none of those. It is a hyper-arid wasteland. Summer temperatures regularly soar past 50 degrees Celsius. There are no paved roads, no water pipes, no electricity, and no permanent houses. The only inhabitants are occasional nomadic gold miners, digging illegally in the dry dirt, completely ignoring the foreign tourists playing king for a day. Shortly after Jeremiah, a Russian man named Dmitry Zikarev arrived, claimed he was the true king of Bir Tawil, and accused the American of lying. Then came a British citizen, and then a group from India, all claiming the same patch of empty sand. It became a comedy of self-proclaimed emperors, ruling over nothing but dust, scorpions, and the howling desert wind. While these stories are amusing, they highlight a deeper, more profound truth about our world. Borders are not natural lines written into the rocks of the earth. They are human inventions, fictions maintained by military power, legal treaties, and political greed. Bir Tawil is a ghost in the machine of modern international law, a reminder of a dark history of colonial drawing boards, where men in comfortable offices in London divided a continent they barely understood. Today, the Hala-Ibe Triangle is under the de facto military control of Egypt, but Sudan still refuses to drop its claim. And as long as that standoff continues, Bir Tawil will remain abandoned. A vast, silent expanse of golden sand, trapped in a geopolitical limbo. It is a land that belongs to no one, protected not by walls or weapons, but by the sheer stubbornness of human politics. The next time you look at a map of our crowded, chaotic world, remember Bir Tawil, the kingdom of nothing, the land that the world forgot to want.